Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and I hope you are wonderful today. Now, in this episode, I want to go into the subject of alignment, or we could say a misalignment. I really believe that most people who have goals and dreams, and the reason as to why they may not achieve those goals and dreams is because they're not in alignment with them consciously, but also unconsciously. If I were to guess, I'd probably say that 10% is what we're consciously doing, and 90% beneath the surface is the unconscious mind getting what we want or getting what we don't want. And that is where a lot of the miscommunication or the misalignment begins to appear, because we could be consciously saying, look, do you know what? I want a great relationship. I want more money. I want to feel confidence. I want to be free of anxiety. But if that is just 10%, what's going to win the war, right, of the goal? If 90% is saying no, or if 90% is in conflict unconsciously, then of course the 10%'s not going to really dent anything when it comes to achieving your goal. So on the one hand, we know that yes, we have to be consciously aligned with where we're heading. I always say the conscious mind is the goal setter, and the unconscious mind is the goal getter. So if you have that 10% of direct influence as to where you are, you're more likely to influence the other 90% of your unconscious mind. These are kind of made up figures in my mind, but you kind of get the gist of it. Whatever that percentage is, the unconscious mind, the thing which runs your belief systems, the thing which runs your values, the thing which runs your habits and your behaviors, the healing, the fight and flight response, all of those things, even how we see and hold the past, is going to be unconscious. So you could be consciously decisive in saying, this is what I want. But if your unconscious mind is, say, for example, believing you're not worthy of it, or you're not capable of it, then the chances are it's going to be a bit of a mismatch. We're being pulled in two different directions. And it's a common experience, right? Because we feel conflicted. We battle ourselves. We feel like we're in this constant battle with our own brain. And that is our unconscious mind. Another example, when it comes to values, if you have say, look, I want lots of abundance because I know it can support my family, my community. I can have the life that I want. I can have security for myself, my family, or my children, whatever it is. If that's your 10% of your desire, but unconsciously you have conflicting values around money. And what are these kind of values? Well, money is the root of all evil. Or only people who have money just use it. There's so many bad people out there who get corrupted by money. Now, there's lots of ways I could reframe how money can be a good thing, but without going, that's a whole new other episode when it comes to money and the training of your mind to be able to get money attraction. But if you do have that conflicting unconscious belief around money, that it's hard to come by, it's the root of all evil, and you've been modeling people growing up, it may be in poverty or maybe getting by, or maybe people who've had lots of money, but you've seen them grow up to be someone you just don't like their values, you'll start to have an association around money as being a bad thing, or at the very least, there'll be no purity there. There'll be no drive behind it. So consciously 10%, let's say, you're wanting it, but unconsciously you have those conflicting values screaming, kicking, trying to get out the way of that money. Because it's all there for you. I always like to say that I'm not lucky, I'm just always looking. I'm looking for opportunity. I'm looking for improvement. I'm looking at getting better in all that I do. I'm human, I don't do it all the time, and I have issues here and there, but on the whole, I'm 90% pretty good in myself. I feel good in health, relationships, career, finances, and all those things, because I began to harness my mind. But that's just one example of a conflict that we are out of alignment because consciously we want something, but your unconscious mind is saying no, no, no. Now, the other thing we said about the past, our memories. If you say, look, I'm ready to have that great new relationship, your unconscious mind might be going, yeah, but those bad people hurt us in the past. Do you remember that time you got cheated on? Do you remember that time that person hurt you emotionally or physically? That's a scary place to be. I don't want you to get hurt, conscious mind. So your unconscious mind self-sabotages what you want in a good relationship, or worst case scenario, it actually only looks for people that you're used to, which would be those people who use and abuse us. So once again, consciously we want something, but unconsciously we're out of alignment. So that is an example when it comes to our past. If we've gone through significant emotional events, then of course our unconscious mind is going to use that as a map or an example what could happen. And if they are negative significant emotional events, of course, it's going to hold you back, self-sabotage you, or like I said, worst case scenario, it's going to match what you've always been used to. And that is why people can keep on repeating the same story. Different person, same story. Different person, same story. We can put that into a translation to bad negative experiences in our job. If we've experienced anxiety there, we could choose a different job, but that anxiety might go, well, it's the same kind of theme, the same kind of story. I'm going to give you that anxiety because that past experience was just horrible for you. I don't want you to go there. Unconscious
out
mind
of
can
alignment.
be doing
So we
on our
have to be
behalf
very
beneath the
clear
surface to create that
what's really happening
misalignment.
beneath
Is if
the
you make
level
a
of the
limiting
unconscious
decision,
mind.
the thing
A
which is the
decision that is
driving
formed
force usually
behind
behind all our
significant
emotional
successes.
events again. So let's just say you have 3 bad interviews, and it wasn't very pleasant, wasn't very nice at all, and you started to blush in those situations, just like I used to, or used to feel anxiety. Now, your unconscious mind can decide that every time you go in that same similar situation, to bring back those same symptoms, the worry, the anxiety, and all those things. So ultimately, we have this war between the conscious mind's desires and the unconscious learned traits. If we dig a little bit deeper, the chances are that those conflicts at our unconscious level were formulated in either 2 ways. Number 1, when we're very young, where we didn't know any better, and number 2, under a significant amount of stress. So we never make good decisions usually when we're young, and we definitely don't make good decisions under stress. We make quick, immediate decisions, not realizing the consequence of that decision. So we can be also kind of gentle on ourselves for the fact that our unconscious mind has made a big mistake for the best of intentions. Now, the worst aspect of this is if you're young and you're under stress, then that can double up that decision, which will create more misalignment. So more often than not, people could jump from one relationship to another, one job to another. They get money, they lose money, they get a little bit more and they go further back because there's always this to and fro. So when I think of being out of alignment, is that it's almost as if you're unhappy because you're not in alignment with who you really are. Not because what anyone else is doing, not because the events you went through. They can contribute to it, but the real deeper aspect of being in misalignment, so the things I just talked to you about are the experiences we went through, the unconscious processes of what's really happening. But more often than not, you're unhappy because you're not in alignment with who you are, not because of anyone else or the things that you've been through. Think about it. When you're totally in alignment, you know that you're good enough. You know that you're worthy. You know that you're capable. You feel good. You feel in tune. You feel in sync. You feel tuned in to what you want. There's nothing in your way. We've all had moments like that when we feel unstoppable. And in those moments is because we realized our power. We knew who we were in that context. But more often than not, it's very hard to activate because of this programming. But know that if we can become more aligned with who we are, It doesn't matter about the circumstance. There are so many people who grew up in poverty and then became super successful in a business providing a great service. There's been so many people who have been used and abused but been able to develop wonderful, loving relationships. There are some people who have been so sick and ill, but they've turned it around and become healthy again. So it doesn't matter about the circumstance, despite it not being enjoyable. It's more about realizing, who am I? Where do I want to be? Where am I now? And how can I bridge that gap? How can I get my unconscious mind on side? How can I program it so it works for me rather than against me? How can I enlighten it to what I really deserve at a conscious and unconscious level? Because when you're 100% aligned to what you want, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your muscles, your heart, your brain, every aspect, you will start to be looking for opportunities. It won't be luck, it will be deep alignment. You'll be aligned with what you want, and I believe whatever you want wants you. But if we're 90% kind of going against what we really want unconsciously, guess what? That 90% wants you too. Unconsciously, it's going to be seeking out what is similar to the processes which are happening beneath the surface. So if you feel conflicted, if you feel misalignment, if you have those negative values or limiting beliefs or limiting decisions or past significant emotional events happening which your unconscious mind remembers in each moment, we're bringing all that baggage into it. So we're getting that miscommunication. We're firing off different signals. I want this, but unconsciously, I'm sabotaging myself. And this is where it gets kind of negative. People sometimes go, well, it's easy for you. You have your life sorted. It's easy for you, Joseph. You're a confident person now. But it never used to always be that way. I actually fell into this. And that's how I got better, right? So it was never about the person who's got the goal or outcome. We've got to look on the inside to figure out, where am I misaligning? What stories am I repeating? Because the stories that we tell ourselves are usually reasons as to why we cannot be who we want to be. I'm going to say that again. I want you to take a note of this. The stories we tell ourselves give us reasons as to why we are like we are. So what stories do you tell yourself on a daily basis? It's too hard. It's never going to work. I'm broken. I'm unfixable. I've tried so many things. I've tried everything. If you're telling that story to yourself consciously, your unconscious mind is always eavesdropping on those thoughts, and it's going to remember them. It's going to compound them. It's going to expand them because it's taking note of your thoughts. It's taking note of the feelings that it's experiencing. So be very conscious of the stories you tell yourself. We all know that one person in our life, sometimes it's even ourselves, that if something bad's going to happen, it's going to happen. You know that friend. Like I said, it might be a little bit closer to home than we'd like it to be. But whatever happens to that person, it's going to happen. They always attract drama. And if we're doing that, if they're doing that, they're creating stories in their mind. They're living by stories. They're creating opportunities for that drama in their life. But like everything and everyone, that can also change too. But you've got to be committed. Are you ready to give up the stories of the past? Are you ready to give up stories of the present? Are you ready to create new stories which will not only keep you safe, but allow you to be purposeful, peaceful, to have a contentment, to have enjoyment, to live life the way it's meant to be? Because remember, you're not unhappy because you're not in alignment with who you are. Not because of anyone else is doing to you, or the situation or the story which keeps occurring. We're just out of alignment. So make a decision right now. Who do you want to be? Where do you want to be heading? If we think the deeper part of you, the infinite profound level of you, The part of you which is always love, the part of you which is always peace, the part of you kind of know is wanting to break out. What stories would that you tell? What would you like to tell as a story? Maybe the story of, I'm so grateful and I'm abundant. I know whatever I want wants me, and I am radiating the greatness within me and without of me. If we go down that route, you're going to be changing the direction of where you're heading. Compared to, life's pretty bad, I'm not good enough. Bad things always happen to me. Those stories will trip you up, and that will create that misalignment. So get to know who you want to be. Not based on your past, but what you're going to create now. Because everyone who has transitioned from, say, poverty to abundance, from poor relationships to great intimate ones, from bad health to great health, the journey was they decided they had to take a different path. They decided there was another way of living, and they did whatever they could to drive forward. They sought out every bit of advice that they could. They began to learn the tools of the brain, the mind, to how to educate themselves. And that's why I say that I built who I am. Like, it didn't happen because I was lucky. I put in the time. I absolutely put in the money. Like, I would honestly say, without a shadow of a doubt, the investment into myself has gone well over $120,000 in my lifetime. That is just something that I enjoy doing. Is it a big investment over those years? Of course it is. But the value I got out of it was profound. Like, I learned, I failed many times, and that's why when people join my system, they get kind of hopefully the shortcuts, so they don't have to go through what I went through when it comes to anxiety or abundance issues and things like that. They can get direct access. But I built this because I knew that something had to change. I couldn't keep on telling the same story that I'm just an anxious person. I feel dread every day. I had to create something new. I had to become in alignment with what I wanted most, without fear, without doubt. And I started by starting to create a new story. I declare that this is my day. Each and every day, I'm going to invest in time into myself. I'm going to switch off that TV and read what I needed to read. I'm going to stop spending money here so I can invest it over here into myself, into experiences, into improvement, into an epiphany. Whatever it is for you, you have to decide, is it worth changing your story? Is it worth getting into alignment? Because if we close this loop right now and we go, if I can get myself 100% alignment, so consciously, say less 10%, but 90% unconscious alignment, you will feel what you want to feel all the time. Even when everything is falling apart on the outside, you'll be strongly tight together. You'll be strong, you'll be profound, you'll be decisive, taking a massive and inspired action. It is one of those things where you have to decide to be different, to stop repeating the same stories, to stop doing the same thing you've always done, and start to be someone new. Who would you create today if you decided to do so? Because when you do that, alignment will come your way. And then whatever you want, wants you too. You'll be emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever it is for you, totally aligned as to where you're heading. Things will be showing up. Opportunities will be there. And rather going, I'm not good enough, or I'm not capable, or this happened in the past and it totally failed on me, so I'm not going to go there. Instead of that, you're going to be going, wow, there's an opportunity to grow. There's an opportunity to get something. There's an opportunity to gain life experience, and every part of your body will just be in anticipation rather than anxiety. Think about it. The best athletes in the world, they don't really feel too much anxiety. And I've worked with many professionals over the years, and a lot of them had blocks. And I began to research with them because obviously I needed to solve their issue when it comes to sport. And I realized when they were doing great, they were just in anticipation mode. But when they weren't doing great, they were in anxiety mode. Now think about those two responses. One, anxiety is fear-based. It's very, very much a negative, away from, frozen, stuck, paralyzing. Anticipation is prepared. It's like you know what could happen, but you're anticipating it in confidence. So if we can get our mind to anticipate, it means we're still safe. If we're very much in tune with what is great, whatever I want that or something better, and I'm tapping into the gratitude, the self-belief, the desire, the fuel of your drive, you will anticipate opportunities. So when they appear, you'll be ready to take action. So once again, never repeat the same stories you've always repeated. They will just justify and give you reasons to stay the same. Choose something new, create yourself, begin to let go of the core issue which is getting you stuck, which is creating all the symptoms. Become in alignment with what you want most and clear out every negative emotion, every limiting decision, every limiting belief to the deeper part of you, so every time you go into a new situation, you have no baggage. You are just tuned in to exactly what you want and you are ready to get exactly what you desire. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, if you ever need our support in getting what you want, if you know that you're resourceful, if you know that you're reliable, if you know that you're dedicated and you are professional, then we might be able to support you in getting you from where you are to where you want to be. It is obviously by application. It does mean you have to have a certain set of criteria because we can't work with everyone. It's very custom for everyone, therefore it's not generic, it doesn't work for everyone. It's only designed for the right person. But if you're feeling anxiety more often than not, worry, doubts, limiting beliefs and thoughts, it might be just perfect for you. If we can help you, we'll definitely show you the way. If we can't, we'll say absolutely, sadly we can't help you, and hopefully direct you to where you need to be. If that is you, resourceful, dedicated, and absolutely committed in making the change, in creating the new story and creating the you've always wanted to be, go to josephclough.info/go. josephclough.info/go. Until next time, have the most wonderful day, and I look forward to speaking to you on a future podcast. Many thanks and goodbye.